We are 95.3 W237CW Pinellas Park, WRUB HD3 Clearwater, and the mighty AM 620 WDAE St. Petersburg, an iHeart radio station.
The gloves are off. I'm playing hardball. It's 4th and 15, and you're looking at a full-court press.
You're tuned into the voice of the Tampa Bay sports fan.
You're gonna like this guy. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us.
Buckle up, because you're on the drive with TKras. Afternoons on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Yeah, welcome aboard on this Fill in the Blank Tuesday. Good afternoon, Tampa Bay. The Drive with TKras, presented by Moss Nissan, is on the air. Hope you're having a wonderful Giving Tuesday in Tampa Bay. What a gorgeous day it is outside. Get out there. Enjoy it. Breathe in the nose, out the mouth, Danielson. Wait! Chris Mathis on the other side of the glass. We are live in living color, 95.3 on the FM side, the mighty AM 620. And don't forget to download the iHeartRadio app for free. Crystal clear reception through the app. It is a beautiful thing. Download it. Take us with you wherever you might be headed this holiday season. Right through your Bluetooth. Put us right through on the iHeartRadio app by searching WDAE. You can also go on there, by the way, and pick out your favorite playlists. If you're like me and you like holiday music, you can crank that baby up all day, every day, listening to Christmas music through the iHeartRadio app. It is a beautiful thing. And good afternoon to all of you watching us on the stream. We're streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X at 953 WDAE and AM 620. So like and subscribe all day, every day. The phone numbers, you know them, you love them. Now use them. 888-546-4620. That's the phone number. You can also text in your thoughts at 82945 on the Bartow 4 DAE text platform, where standard message and data rates do apply. And all guests will appear via the Central Florida Behavioral Health Network DAE hotline. We got a big show. We're going to take you all the way up until 5 o'clock, and then it's Buccaneer Total Access with the head coach, Todd Bowles.
Not at this time.
Not at this time, no. But at 5 o'clock, you're going to hear from the head coach. And how did he feel about the come-from-behind win, a game in which the Carolina Panthers snatched defeat from the jaws of victory, and how the Buccaneers were able to finally close out a game and win one in overtime, where they've been the victim of such circumstances earlier in the year. So you're going to hear from Todd Bowles on how that victory came forth and what a big win that. Yeah, I'm sure you are excited, because that was big for your job security more so than anything else. Boy, at 5-7, if Anthony Nelson doesn't make that play, we're talking about a completely different conversation right here, right now. And speaking of which, the hero from Sunday, Buccaneer linebacker Anthony Nelson, is scheduled to join us here on the show this hour. So,
Say that again.
Yes, Jason Light. We're trying to work out the details. By the way, if there's somebody who deserves a cigar, and Jason Light already got one, so I think
one of those cigars.
Listen, you got one, okay? And I think after the overtime win in Charlotte on Sunday night, I think that would have been a good time to have that cigar. Because 6-6 looks a hell of a lot better, tied for first, than 5-7, and maybe your season being over, to be quite honest. But if there's anybody who deserves a cigar, it's Anthony Nelson. Because not only did he make the play, guys, that saved the Buccaneers' season, he and his wife also gave birth to a baby boy on Friday. Eli Nelson was born on Friday, their second child, Anthony and his wife, Jordan. So that was probably the highlight of his weekend. And then on Sunday, nobody had a better weekend than Anthony Nelson, I can tell you that. Nobody. Wife gives birth to a beautiful baby boy, and then Anthony Nelson goes out on Sunday, and you want to talk about making maybe the biggest play of his career. That's exactly what took place on Sunday for one Anthony Nelson. Eli Scott Nelson. So congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Anthony Nelson for the birth of their second child, 2 boys now. And we hope to have Anthony Nelson calling into the show in a matter of minutes. We'll keep you updated on that. And then at 4 o'clock, another former Buccaneer will join us. The second all-time leading scorer in Buccaneers history. Martin Gramatica will be with us on the show. And there's a lot to talk to him about in terms of how the Buccaneers pull that game off on Sunday. Plus, the Buccaneers are changing punters yet again because Trenton Gill was fired yesterday by the Buccaneers, and probably justifiably so, a 22-yard kick, and he certainly had his troubles as a holder, and the snap was a little bit low on that 55-yarder in overtime, and that was unfortunate for him. And Todd Bowles mentioned after the game, look, I think we got a serious problem, and we're going to have to address it. And boy, did they ever address it yesterday, because now the Buccaneers will be on their third punter of the season. So we'll talk to Martin Gramatica about all things Buccaneers. He'll be with us at 4:05. And then, of course, we've got Fill in the Blank coming up at 4:30. At 6-6, the Buccaneer playoff hopes are blank. We're going to get into that at 4:30. They're actually getting better because right now it's 50-50. And if they can beat the Raiders on Sunday, their chances will only increase. And if the Falcons lose at Minnesota, which they may very well do, Minnesota's a hot team. Kirk Cousins and the Falcons are not. Kirk Cousins just threw 4 interceptions, just gave a game away against the Chargers at home on Sunday, and they were coming off the bye. You kind of figured, Falcons coming off the bye, they're at home. Chargers coming east, 1 o'clock. They had everything going for them. And then all of a sudden, poof, Kirk Cousins just had one of his worst games of his professional career. And there were some whispers that maybe, perhaps, the pride of Dade City, Michael Penix, would step in and be named the starter, but that is not what is taking place because Raheem Morris has said that he will stick with his guy, Kirk Cousins, as the starting quarterback for this week's game at Minnesota, which is tough. So everything appears to be falling into place for the Buccaneers, and usually that's when, the roof kind of caves in on you a little bit. But what is next for the Buccaneers? Can they actually pull this off? Can they win this division? Can they get into the playoffs? That is the subject of our opening drive here on a Tuesday.
Start the engine. Gas to the floor. Here's the opening drive.
At 6-6, the Buccaneers' chances of making the playoffs improved dramatically via the overtime win in Carolina. And, of course, coupled with the Falcons' loss to those the LA Chargers, they should be in San Diego, let's be honest.
Qualcomm Stadium back in the day.
Yeah, I love the San Diego Chargers. I loved them when they were in San Diego. In LA, there really is no home field advantage. And that only makes the job, by the way, that Jim Harbaugh is doing that much more impressive because they don't have a home field advantage. He took over a team that was not very good, that was undisciplined. He had himself a really great quarterback in Justin Herbert, and I think that was one of the main reasons why he jumped to the NFL, which most of us thought he was going to do. You knew he wasn't going to stay at Michigan. But right now he's got the Chargers playing great ball, and they hand-delivered the Buccaneers an early Christmas present by beating the Atlanta Falcons. And now the Buccaneers have themselves what looks like an easy game on paper this week. And I would caution anybody, if you've watched the Buccaneers this year, there's nothing that comes easy with this team. Now, you look at the Raiders, who are coming in Sunday at 1 o'clock. They're 2-10. They've lost 8 in a row. They had an impressive win at Baltimore early in the season. Then they beat the Browns at home. But since then, it has not looked good. But last week, They gave the Chiefs all they could handle, and if it wasn't for absolute incompetence in the final minute or so when it comes to clock management, I think the Raiders probably win that game in Arrowhead against the Chiefs on a Black Friday. Instead, the Chiefs, again, found the way to win. They're 11-1. They do it all with one-score victories. That's a team that's really riding that fine line between, winning and losing. They are living dangerously right now, are the Kansas City Chiefs. And at 11-1, they don't appear to be a dominant team, but they have a great quarterback who knows how to win close games, a great head coach, wonderful defensive coordinator. And look, they still have some A-list players. They just have fewer of them. But they do have a huge problem at left tackle. But the Raiders probably should have won that game. Now, the problem with the Raiders, and they got a lot of problems, by the way, if you want to know how bad a team is, all you have to do is look at the turnover margin. Who is dead last in the NFL in turnover margin? The Las Vegas Raiders, who are 2-10, and for good reason. They are minus 18 in that category. Nobody has lost more fumbles than the Raiders. They've lost 11 of them. They've had 23 giveaways. They've had 5 takeaways. You add it up, that's a team that doesn't force turnovers, and they give the ball away freely. You want to talk about a team that's in the holiday spirit? I present to you the Las Vegas Raiders. And if you're the Buccaneers, you got to find a way to force a turnover or 2 or 3 and see if you can, force a couple turnovers early and, maybe try and put away this Raiders team early if you can. But I don't think it's going to be as easy as it looks on paper. The Raiders played well last week. And look, if they're thinking about tanking, they're well on their way, because if the season ended today, the Raiders would have the 2nd overall pick in the draft behind Jacksonville. We know Jacksonville's not looking for a quarterback. And if they end up with the number 1 overall pick, they got Trevor Lawrence, who was the victim of a nasty concussion. And there's news, by the way, on that, and we'll get into that in a matter of moments. But if you're the Raiders, you're looking for a quarterback. You got Tommy Boy now as a minority owner, and whether or not he can help out in that manner remains to be seen.
Oh, so what's the question?
The question here, Tommy Boy, is now that you've got some sort of influence in what the Raiders are going to do, what kind of quarterback do you think your team, and I'm going to say your team because that is Tommy Boy's team. You got Mark Davis with the funny-looking haircut. He is the owner.
No.
What?
You insulted him a little
Let the
bit.
man live, man.
Listen, if you
It
want,
is funny, though. I'll give you that. But come on, man.
if he wants to live in that manner, I guess that's up to him. But I think Tom Brady will have some influence as to what they do in the offseason and what kind of quarterback they end up picking in the draft, whether it's Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward or somebody else.
And you know what, Tom? With that, no other team, no other NFL franchise has ever had that opportunity or blessing, if you will, of having a guy like Tom Brady chime in like that.
I'm sure he will have significant input into what they do this offseason at that quarterback position. He knows what it looks like. We all know that. And whether or not the Raiders, end up going in that direction is something that remains to be seen. But I watched the Raiders last Friday, and look, they have a couple of playmakers on offense. Brock Bowers is a problem. I think he's going to be a big problem for the Buccaneers on Sunday. There's nobody, and I've watched him play about a handful of times. There's nobody that can deal with that guy. Way too fast for any linebacker, and he's way too big for any defensive back to deal with. So that's a guy who I think is going to present a matchup problem for the Buccaneers. There's no question about it. He had 10 for 140 last week against the Chiefs. And Jacoby Myers is underrated. That's a guy who just knows how to get open, catches the ball really well, runs great routes. So they got 2 guys in the passing game, and we've seen the Buccaneers, their secondary. They've given up a lot of big plays. They were only able to get 1 sack, just 1, this past Sunday. against Carolina and Bryce Young, and that was our guy, Kalijah Kancey.
Bryce Young has to see me 2 times a year.
Well, listen, you saw him on Sunday, and that was something we were waiting for, for the last, year plus since I interviewed Kalijah Kancey right after he got drafted, and I asked him about Bryce Young, and Kalijah Kancey delivered one of the great lines we've had on this program.
Bryce Young has to see me 2 times a year.
I said, hey, Bryce Young, you got to see him twice. And then, no, he turned the tables.
Bryce Young has to see me 2 times a year.
All right, we get it. You're going to see him one more time.
He's confident, man. He's going to rack up at least one more sack on Bryce Young this year.
Well, look, he's going to see him one more time. And let's hope that he can deliver, so to speak.
Hey, I'm going to say this one time.
I'm going to say this one time. We have Carolina at our place, second to last game. You're going to hear from Todd Bowles coming up at 5 o'clock. But certainly on the offensive side, those two guys are going to be a problem for the Bucs. And then defensively, Max Crosby, he's a monster. He is. Now, the good news is that the Bucs offensive line is playing at a really, really high level. They are getting after it. Tristan Wirfs on one leg on Sunday was tremendous. Todd Bowles had a lot of praise for Tristan Wirfs, said, look, that guy was awesome, and it was great to have him back in the lineup, and he makes that O-line go. The Bucs rushed for 236 yards. Most of that was from Bucky Irving, the impressive rookie. Bucky met with the media yesterday. He says his hip was feeling much better. We're going to find out how much practice time he will have this week. He also praised the big guys in front of him for his big day on Sunday. Here's Bucky Irving on that.
I don't really like taking all the credit. It's them guys up front. I think I got to do something real nice for them guys for Christmas, dog, because they getting the job done. I really don't want to take all the credit. Like I said, we got to get more of them guys ahead and get them the credit for getting the job done up front.
Well, I think the kid gets it. He might be a rookie, but he knows, look, he's got God-given ability, right? But he also knows that he would not be popping off and having great games like he's been having if it wasn't for the scheme. Credit to Liam Cohen. Also, the big guys up front paving the way. And if you paid attention, you were going back and watching like I did, the Buccaneers really have some innovative run-blocking schemes and concepts. And they were able to spring them more than a couple of times. So Bucky Irving is an absolute gamer. As a fourth-round pick, tremendous. I think this draft class from top to bottom, also tremendous. That's a testament to Jason Light. That's what the cigar was for, certainly. But if there is a guy who deserves a cigar because he just had a kid born and he came up with the biggest play of his life, it's Buccaneer linebacker Anthony Nelson, who, by the way, will join us at 3:30. Just got word from the Buccaneers. Sunday's hero, Anthony Nelson, will be with us coming up in about 12 minutes or so stand by for that. 888-546-4620. Text at 82945. As the Buccaneers will an off day today, they're back on the practice field tomorrow. We'll talk to Anthony Nelson about, some life-changing experiences taking place over the weekend. I don't think anybody had a better weekend than Anthony Nelson, and we'll discuss that with him. Number 98 will join us coming up in about 10 minutes or so. So this is where the Bucs stand. You're 6-6. They are huge fans of the Minnesota Vikings this week. Vikings hosting the much-beleaguered Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons. Cousins gave that game away against the Chargers on Sunday. And now Atlanta, who, by the way, -6 turnover differential after that 4-interception performance by Kirk Cousins on Sunday. You like that? I think the Bucs like that. But Atlanta now -6. Losers of 3 in a row. And now their season is teetering on the brink. If they lose on Sunday and the Buccaneers win, then the Buccaneers control their own destiny the final 4 games of the season, which is where you want to be if you're Tampa Bay. So this is a big weekend Week number 14 coming up for both the Bucs and the Falcons. But I was looking over the turnover differential, and, you can certainly tell by the records, like the teams toward the bottom of the turnover differential department are teams with losing records. The Raiders are 2-10. They're minus 18. The Tennessee Titans, also a bad team, minus 13. Jacksonville Jaguars, also 2-10, minus 9. New York Giants, 2-10, minus 8. Buccaneers, by the way, minus 1 on the turnover differential. So, not great. The defense certainly has to find a way to create more turnovers. And the good news for them is you get a Raiders team on Sunday, which has just been giving it away at will. So this could be an opportunity for a guy like, I don't know, Antoine Winfield Jr. or some other guys on the defensive side of the ball to contribute. Now, another problem is more injuries on the defensive side. KJ Britt went out with an ankle injury. J.J. Russell had to step in. A lot of people might think that that's an upgrade at this point. Mike Edwards is having an MRI today. He had a hamstring injury. I don't know if Tyke Smith's going to be back this week. Jordan Whitehead, we already know, is out. So that's why the Brock Bowers thing would concern me for Sunday's game. With all the injuries they have back there, I just don't know who can you put on him. I don't think Antoine Winfield can stay with him. I don't think Levante David, God bless his heart, can stay with a guy like Brock Bowers. I think Brock Bowers is going to be a problem on Sunday. Your calls and texts are coming up. Martin Gramatica will join me coming up at 4:05. We'll talk Buccaneers with him. We'll talk kicking situation with him. Buccaneers switching punters out yet again. We'll be constructing a W coming up at 3:45. We'll take you up until 5 o'clock, and then it's Buccaneer Total Access with Todd Bowles coming your way then. But when we come back, nobody had a better weekend than my next guest. His wife gave birth to their second child, a boy, and then he made maybe a season-saving play on Sunday to keep the Buccaneers alive in the playoff hunt. Buccaneer linebacker Anthony Nelson, number 98. He will join me on the drive coming up next. Don't move.
WDAE
traffic update.
From the Safe Touch locked into The Drive with TKras, presented by Moss Nissan on WDAE.
It was huge. I mean, he's always played under control. He plays calm, but he plays tough and he plays smart. He doesn't have the build of the natural muscular defensive lineman, and he has a baby face Nelson, if you will. But at the same time, he's extremely smart. He's extremely strong. He's extremely active when he's on there, understands how to use his hands because he played inside so much in college.
Buccaneer head coach Todd Bowles on Anthony Nelson, the hero of Sunday night's overtime win in Carolina, coming up with perhaps not only the biggest play of the season for the Buccaneers to this point, and maybe we'll look back at this game and that particular play and say this was the play maybe that turned the Bucs season around. But it might have been the biggest play of his career as well. Welcome back. It is The Drive with TKras. Tom Krasnick with you on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon in Tampa Bay. 888-546-4620. We'll get to your calls. We'll get to your texts a little bit later on. We'll be constructing a W coming up in about 15 minutes or so. Martin Gramatica, by the way, will join us coming up at 4:05, and we'll talk more Bucs with him. We'll talk about the kicking situation, not so much. Chase McLaughlin, who kicked the game-winning field goal. He also missed one from 55 yards because of a bad snap and a bad hold by a guy who's no longer here, who had a terrible game, by the way, unfortunately on Sunday, and paid the price. Trenton Gill was let go by the Buccaneers yesterday, unfortunately. And look, it's a results-oriented business. The Buccaneers certainly were not very happy with his performance. Jake Camarda was cut loose earlier in the year because he got into a slump that he couldn't get out of, and they let him go, and they gave the job to Trent Gill, and unfortunately with him, it didn't work out. But now the Buccaneers are going to be on their third punter, so how is that going to change things? It could. Dramatically so. People overlook special teams, but that is 1/3 of the game. You have to be able to flip field position on some people when your defense isn't playing as well as it can be. The Buccaneers are a bend but don't break type of defense. They've got a lot of injuries. They have a lack of a consistent pass rush, although they had a whole bunch of quarterback hits on Sunday against Carolina. I think their pass rush obviously could be better. They had just one sack on Sunday, and that came via Kalijah Kancey. Now, they had a whole bunch of guys that had some quarterback hits, if you will, and which can be beneficial to the point of, you are hurrying the quarterback in terms of him throwing the ball earlier than he wants, and sometimes those hits tend to pile up. They had 11 quarterback hits. By the way, Anthony Nelson had 3 of those. So did Yaya Diaby. So those two guys off the edge did hit the quarterback a bunch of times, but they did not get him down to the ground. And that's something that we'll talk about with Anthony Nelson when he rings in a matter of moments, and we'll ask him about that as well. But you're talking about a Raiders team now that's coming up this week that, the Buccaneers really have to beat. I mean, you got to be able to beat this team. They're 2-10. I gave you their turnover differential. I mean, it is appalling. And the Raiders, by the way, have given up 41 sacks on the season. So that's something that the Buccaneers perhaps can take advantage of Sunday, Raymond James Stadium at 1 o'clock. All right, let's go to the Central Florida Behavioral Health Network DA hotline. Learn more at cfbhn.org. He's standing by, the hero from Sunday's overtime win in Carolina in his 6th year out of Iowa, number 98. Buccaneer linebacker Anthony Nelson is with us here on The Drive on WDAE. So glad to have him with us on his off day. Anthony, thanks for spending your off day with us. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, man. I appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you for coming on because I know it's your off day. You want to be able to relax. You're with your family. And let's talk about what the last 96 hours have meant to you. And it started on Friday as you and your wife, you gave birth to your second son. Tell us about that experience.
Yeah, we went in early Friday morning and ended up having him. He's healthy, mom's healthy, so I was happy about that. Also glad that he didn't wait to come out until Sunday in conflict with the game, so he chose good timing. But yeah, I was just at the hospital with her and Eli, my son, and then it was straight to Carolina and getting ready for this game and catching up on the couple things that I missed on Friday. But it's been a good week. It's been a tiring week. But we're happy to be home now and happy to be getting ready for another game.
Eli Scott Nelson, God bless you and your wife Jordan and your family. I'm so glad that your wife and your son are doing great. But you just touched on something that I hadn't even thought of. You know, if your son was born 2 days later, you obviously would have missed that game on Sunday. Then Lord knows what could have happened there. Have you thought about that?
No, I haven't thought about it, and you don't need to think about it too much because it didn't happen. So I'm glad we were able to get the win and get us another game in the right direction.
Anthony Nelson is with me here on The Drive, Buccaneer linebacker. The Bucs hosting the Raiders on Sunday. So let's talk about the game you just had on Sunday. A wild game, a roller coaster ride, plenty of highs and some lows too. Kind of a microcosm of your season to this point. And, you know, you weren't able to finish off these games a month ago, but you were able to do it this time around. Why?
I mean, you said it well. We've had games and situations just like that, and for whatever reason, it just hasn't bounced our way. I think it's just big to get one that goes in your way. I think just stay in the course, keep fighting every play till the last second. But to get one bouncing your way like that, I think that can be a momentum builder for us. So we just got to take advantage of it and keep it rolling.
Let's talk about what happened in the overtime session because it was certainly wild. You know, Levante David goes out there for the coin toss, and, you know, it sounded like from his comments that maybe he didn't want to go out there, but he did. He called heads. You guys got heads. You went down the field. Unfortunately, you missed the field goal. And then Carolina came back. Adam Thielen makes this incredible one-handed catch. So right after that catch, you're in the huddle with your guys. Carolina's about to get into field goal range. Just take us inside what was said or if anything was said prior to the next play that happened.
Nothing too much was said. I mean, the play before when I turned around and saw him catch that ball, it was an incredible catch. My heart sunk because I was, they're right there on the doorstep of field goal range. But after that play, we just got together, and I think the only thing was said was, we got to make this as long as possible. Got to make it tough for them. And then, the play unfolded. Had a chance to go for the ball, so it worked out for us. So they didn't even get to take the kick, but it was just a good job by defending, every blade of grass, making it as hard as possible, and then, we get lucky, and I'm happy with that.
I think everyone is happy with that. Buccaneer linebacker Anthony Nelson's with us. So let's talk about the play. Chuba Hubbard gets the handoff, goes into the line. You're coming up right on the side of him. You're approaching him, and you're thinking you were going for the strip the entire way, weren't you?
Yeah, it was a good scenario for me, especially when you're going for the ball. He didn't see me coming, so I just had a free and clear access to the ball. I was just trying to do whatever I could to get it out. And, and then getting it out and seeing Yaya jump on top of it, I knew we had a shot, and we had a good chance to win this game.
Well, let me ask you about that, too, because as that play's developing, you get the strip. He didn't cover it up with both hands until, very late, but by that point, the ball was already out. And I'm watching Yaya, and it looked like for a second – he wanted to scoop that thing up and run with it, and I'm just yelling like everybody else back here, just dive on top of it, cover it up, and he absolutely did that. So that was a great job by Yaya, right?
Yeah, it was a great job. Like you said, I saw him go for it. I was a little nervous when he didn't jump on it right away, but he knew there was guys coming around, so he got on top of it, and it was a great job getting the ball back for us and setting up the game winner.
And that's something you guys practice every day, not only stripping the ball out, but also loose ball drills, diving on top of the ball instead of trying to scoop it up and run with it, right?
Yep. Yeah, we practice that stuff all the time, going for the ball and then being able to understand if there's some people around, we got to jump on it, and if you're in the open, you can try and pick it up and go. But yeah, that's something we practice a lot, and you practice it, and it doesn't happen very often. But when it does, sometimes it can be huge.
Buccaneer linebacker Anthony Nelson is with me, the hero from Sunday. Bucs are 6-6. They get the Raiders at home Sunday at 1:00. So right after you make this incredible play, you come to the sideline. Everyone is giving you your props, your respects, and Baker Mayfield, who didn't have the greatest game, but I got to tell you, and obviously you can speak to this from being a player inside that locker room, this guy is as tough as nails. I mean, he may not have the best of games at times, and Sunday wasn't, but he found a way to hit Mike Evans, and then he hit Sterling Shepard, the big run by Rachaad White to set up that field goal. But talk about Baker Mayfield and his toughness and his leadership ability and what that means inside the walls of that locker room.
Yeah, he's an amazing leader. He's been great for us. Toughness is a great word to use when you're talking about her. I mean, nothing's going to stop him. He's going to go through it, hits, whatever. Any adversity, any mistakes, he's going to bounce back and keep fighting. He's going to fight till the end. So I think having that as a quarterback and a leader is really good for us. Allows us to play and keep our focus and keep our intensity through ups and downs and all the way to the end, like we did on Sunday.
So locker room comes, you're in there. They give you the game ball, obviously. I don't think anybody had a better weekend than you. Baby son gets born. You make maybe the biggest play of your life. Would you say that was probably the biggest play of your life so far, Anthony?
So far, I would agree with you. That was a big one. Yeah, having everybody in the locker room cheering, it was a really special moment. Just thinking about my wife at home with our son doing it without me. So I appreciate her and allowing me that opportunity to go and go and play in the game.
So when you got back home late Sunday night, obviously, any sleepless nights? Were you excited? Were you exhausted? So take us through the last 24 to 48 hours or so.
Yeah, I was very excited to get home, see the family, very exhausted. But, of course, in newborn fashion, I got home probably midnight, 12:30 on, Monday morning, Sunday night, and newborn was up. So I got to see him up, help feed him, and put him back to bed, which was good timing by him, and it was really special to get to do that right when I got home. But, since then it's been resting up and turning the page because we got another big one this week.
Well, and before we get to that, what great timing by this kid, okay? He's only been around like 3 or 4 days, but he knew not to kick his way out on Sunday because that means you wouldn't have been in Carolina, and then who knows what the end result would have been. And then, of course, he's there waiting for you when you get home. I mean, this kid's got it already. I mean, he gets it, right?
Yeah, he gets it. I don't know if he knows what he's doing at all, but yeah, he's gotten lucky. So he's been doing good for us so far.
I'll get you out on this, and I certainly appreciate a few minutes of your time on your off day. Anthony Nelson is with me here. So you got the Raiders coming up this week. I know you're trying not to pay attention to their record. They got a couple of players. Brock Bowers is certainly going to be a problem, but take us through the mindset. You're tied with Atlanta. You got an early Christmas present from the Chargers. One game at a time. Do you think if you take care of business, everything's going to work out?
Yeah, I think that's the mentality we have, and really this mentality we need at this point in the year. Like you said, the close game that we won, we let a couple of close games slip away, so at this point we need them all. But the only way really to do that is just to take it one at a time, and we can't get caught up in what other people are doing because it's just so important that every game is so important for us. So we just got to really focus in one game at a time. And if we can do that, I think it's going to be good for us in the end.
All right, he's in his 6th year out of Iowa, number 98, Buccaneer linebacker Anthony Nelson, the hero from Sunday's overtime win in Carolina. Anthony, congratulations on a big win, even more so on being a dad for the 2nd time. Thanks for joining me on your off day. Appreciate it, man.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
You got it. That's Anthony Nelson, Buccaneer linebacker. What a great story. I never thought of that. Like, that kid, thankfully, he kicked his way out on Friday. I mean, if he waited 2 more days, Bucs are 5-7. I don't know.
And then you're talking about Todd Bowles and where he's at, obviously, which is An unfortunate situation as well, but what a play. And you make a really good point. He held on, waited to be burnt on Sunday, and was able to have his dad make the biggest play of the game.
That's right. That kid already gets it. His timing is better than a lot of adults who have been around 30, 40, 50 years. That kid's 4 or 5 days old. You know, he gets it already. He knows what's important. What a gift from God. So I appreciate Anthony Nelson for joining me. Congrats to him and his wife Jordan, and thanks to the Buccaneers, my guy Nelson Louise, Micah Pahanik, Mr. Elevator himself, Mr. Elevator Action. And he knows why he's got that nickname. Elevator Action was a very interesting video game back in the day, Chris Mathis.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard of that. Is that some kind of like a Nintendo 64 game?
No. Going way back, my friend. Elevator Action. That's what I call Mike Pahanik. He knows why. All right, we'll take a break. Martin Gramatica will join me coming up just after 4 o'clock. We've got Fill in the Blank at 4:30. Anthony Nelson's kid being born on Friday instead of Sunday is blank. We're going to get into that. All right, when we come back, we're going to let you know what's on tonight. We'll also be constructing a W, and that is coming your way next here on The Drive. Don't move.
You're locked in to The Drive with TKras.
Guys, the holiday season is here, and you're looking for those gift ideas. Maybe you're looking to pop the big question, perhaps. It's your boy Tom Krasnicki here from my friends Steve and Julie Weintraub over at the Golden Diamond Source. I'm looking forward to seeing Julie here in the building tomorrow. You need to make her jaw drop this holiday season. Only one way to do it. The Golden Diamond Source, of course. They've got the perfect piece to show her that she's one of a kind. And if you're looking for a gift that says forever, you can find stunning engagement rings, diamond bracelets, and more only at the Golden Diamond Source because she deserves the best. Don't settle for anything less than perfection. And at the Golden Diamond Source, we make it easy to give her the gift that she will never forget. The Golden Diamond Source has experts on hand, and they will have the perfect gift for everyone without dealing with all that mall madness. Forget about the malls. Head on into the Golden Diamond Source. It's like shopping at 4 or 5 different jewelry stores under one roof. From statement necklaces to elegant diamond earrings, the Golden Diamond Source is the only place to shop for the gift of a lifetime. And you can finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years. So you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $84 a month. So visit the Golden Diamond Source today, where you'll always find the perfect gift this holiday season. Check them out, 3800 Omerton Road in Clearwater. Always online at goldendiamond.com. Tell them TKras sent you. We'll be back.
WDAE.
Traffic update. This
here for their success and the Orlando Magic. Watch out for Suggs tonight as they look to make it 7 in a row.
We're constructing a W. We do it each and every day at this time, courtesy of my guys over at CMK Construction, proudly serving Tampa Bay and Sarasota communities. Call them today, 813-321-4426, or online, cmkconstructioninc.com. Together, we'll make tomorrow brighter.
What's on tonight with The Drive with TKras.
And here he is, presented by our guys, by the way, John Howard and his amazing team at HowardTeamHomeLoans.com. Here's our guy, Chris Mathis.
Yeah, you got that right, Tom. We'll get right to it talking about that matchup, the Magic against the Knicks on TNT, a 7:30 tip-off tonight. Also, right here on this very station, 95.3 WDAE and AM 620, streaming live on the free iHeartRadio app, is the head coach of your Tampa Bay Buccaneers from 5 to 6 on Bucs Total Access. Don't miss. No, it's not at this time, Coach. Don't jump the gun. It's at 5 o'clock right here on DAE. Also on tonight, Tom TKras.
What?
Is on television. So for those of you that say Tom has a face for radio, he is on the radio every day. He's on the live stream at 95.3 WDAE and AM 620, but he's also on local TV as well.
Bay News 9 each and every week. Yours truly and Ronnie Lane. We'll be on tonight at 10:30 on Spectrum Sports on Bay News 9. I don't know what the topics are yet. They usually email us topics, and we have 2 minutes to go on there and tell a whole bunch of lies, which I do each and every day, according to some of you. It is. Thank you, Coach Golish. But you, Coach Golish, and everyone else can catch me live tonight, Bay News 9 at 10:30. So that is what's on tonight. 888-546-4620. A lot of you are complimenting, I guess, on the Anthony Nelson interview on the text platform. Out of the 727, Eli Nelson, born on Friday versus Sunday, is phenomenal in capital letters. It really was. And it didn't dawn on me until Anthony mentioned it. You know, it's a good thing my kid was born on Friday instead of Sunday. Can you imagine the ramifications of that kid coming 2 days later?
Yeah, rough one, right?
It would have been rough for you, Dave Canales. It was rough that Eli came on Friday instead of Sunday. Because if it's the other way around, you know, they were already without JTS, you know, without Anthony Nelson, Bucs don't win that game. They don't. Oof is right. And he mentioned that was the most important play of his career. It sure was, and it came at a great time. The Buccaneers needed it the most.
So I podcasted here any minute now as well, Tampa Bay.
Thank you very much, Chris Mathis. All right, 1 hour down, 1 more hour to go. Coming up, the Buccaneers are getting set for the Raiders. They will have their third punter lining up on Sunday. Is that a problem as we have one of our drops? It might be. We're going to talk to a guy who knows everything there is to know about the kicking game. Martin Gramatica, Gramatica, our guy. He will join the show coming up next.
Tampa Bay Sports Radio, 95.3 WD. 95.3 W237CW Pinellas Park, WRUB HD3 Clearwater, and the mighty AM 620 WDAE St. Petersburg, an iHeart radio station. It's Tuesday, from Gulfport to Clearwater and all around Tampa Bay, plus worldwide on iHeartRadio.
The gloves are off. I'm playing hardball. It's 4th and 15, and you're looking at a full court press.
You're tuned into the voice of the Tampa Bay sports fan.
You're gonna like this guy. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us.
Buckle up, because you're on the drive with TKras. Afternoons on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
They were very concerning. Almost cost us the game. Basically, the field position cost us. We got them out and we got them off the field, but it's very concerning. We're definitely going to take a look at it.
Well, Todd Bowles of the Buccaneers took a look at it. He's talking about the punting situation, and yesterday they gave third prize to Trent Gill. He's gone, and we couldn't do nothing about it.
Third prize is you're fired.
22-yard punt, some bad holds as well on the 55-yard field goal, and now the Buccaneers are on their third punter. They managed to win the game. Welcome back. Good afternoon, Tampa Bay, by the way. 4:06 on your ride home on this Fill in the Blank Tuesday. The Drive with TKras, Tom Krasnicki, and the Air Chair with you, presented by Moss Nissan. Chris Mathis on the other side. Fill in the Blank coming up at 4:30. We'll take you up until 5 o'clock. Buccaneer Total Access with the head coach, Todd Bowles, coming your way then. That should be an interesting listen.
Tom, we love you.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate that very much. He wasn't talking to me. He's talking to Tom Brady. He's definitely not talking to me. And he definitely wasn't talking to Trenton Gill, because I'm sure he said something else to him like, you out.
You out.
By the way, my thanks once again to Anthony Nelson for joining the show. The hero from Sunday. In case you missed it, fantastic interview. You can check it out. It is up for podcasts. Check out The Drive, 953WDAE.com. You can also access commercial-free podcasts and interviews, any segment that you may have missed through the iHeartRadio app. Download it for free. It's a beautiful thing. And we are also streaming the show. You can watch us as we speak on YouTube, Facebook, and X at 953WDAE. So special teams, very big. The Buccaneers are on their third punter. Where do they go from here? Let's talk to a guy who knows everything there is to know about special teams, kicking, punting, and everything else in between. He's on a Spanish broadcast for Buccaneer Game Day, the second all-time leading scorer in Bucs history. Our guy, Martin Gramatica, is back with us here on the program. Martin, hope you had a great Thanksgiving, buddy. How are you?
I had it. Yeah, so good, really good Thanksgiving. I hope you guys did too, and thanks for having me back.
Hey, man, thanks for coming back. Your thoughts on what you saw Sunday? We'll talk about the game itself. Let's focus on the punting situation. Really bad kick by Gill. Holding on some of the field goal attempts certainly was not ideal. So you're watching this unfold, and what are you thinking?
No, and you're absolutely right. The punting was not what we expected, and especially after they let Camarda go. Camarda had a great couple years, and then all of a sudden just wasn't hitting the ball clean. So when they signed Gill, you expected better, and we didn't get better. So that's why I think they're making a change. I mean, I don't know if they can bring Camarda back. I would love to see him back because he's a great kid, and also a great punter. The thing is, I think what hurt Camarda is that the kickoffs really don't matter as much anymore because, back then he would kick the ball out of the end zone in touchbacks and no returns. Now with a new kickoff rule, you don't have to have a strong leg. You just kick it, and they're not really returning him that much anyway. So I agree that they need to make a move. I'm not sure who they're going to be back. I would love to see Camarda back because he did a great job for us in the past.
He did, and I remember you and I talking about that because he's also a really good athlete. He has, a really big leg, as we all know, and I just think it was a ball striking issue, which you have mentioned is more mental than physical because he's got the physical ability, right?
Yes, and the other thing, too, that most people kind of oversee or overlook is he was a great holder, and Chase really felt confident with him and comfortable with him. And they, obviously when you create a friendship, like anytime I felt the most comfortable with my holders is when I had a really good relationship with them, because now I could just trust them and just relax and do my thing. Not that you don't trust the other guys, but not knowing and not having that chemistry could have played a role in one of those kicks. So I think, having a guy that you can trust, that you're good friends with, and that you've gotten along with, makes a big difference. And that's where I think Jake Camarda really, really was an asset for us.
Martin Gramatica is joining us here. So you saw that in the 55-yarder, the snap did not look clean, and the hold. And once, look, you go through your steps, right? And you could talk about this as a place kicker. You go through your steps. You practice this every day. If one thing is off from the snap to the placement, it throws everything off, right?
Yes, it does, because now your timing, like, for example, a kicker really doesn't leave and doesn't start their approach until the holder's left hand starts to move. So the holder's going to put their left hand in the spot, and as they move their hand up to go catch the ball, that's when the kicker makes their move. So now if that's thrown off because either a low snap or even a different holder, now the timing on the kicker is off. So I think that snap was not the greatest. Mm-hmm. And again, having confidence in your holder, maybe Chase could have held his approach a little bit longer and be able to come through with it. So that does throw you off when the snap's a little bit low, though.
Martin Gramatica is with me here. So now they got some kid on the practice squad, I guess. Maybe he's the punter. I mean, to my recollection, I don't think anyone picked up Jake Camarda. I don't know if the Buccaneers want to bring him back or not. Listen, if he's available, I would bring him back because I think you can still salvage him. I think he's got God-given ability, and if he can work out his mental issues, his mechanics or whatnot, I would certainly be in favor of that. So what do you think ends up happening there?
I would 100% bring him back, especially because he has that chemistry with Chase McLaughlin, because we're going to need Chase to make kicks. And now having confidence in his holder, knowing that his holder can hold for him and they have that chemistry, that's huge. And can Chase and is Jake Camarda going to do any worse than what we did this weekend? Probably not. So I definitely would bring him back. And he's proven that he can be the guy. And just having a few off games, and maybe this could have sent a message to him like, look, you can't miss hit balls. You've got to come out and hit good punts. And maybe this couple weeks off being out of the NFL, because when you're training with an NFL team and you have all the amenities, now you're kicking by yourself, you're kicking at a high school, you don't have the amenities of the NFL, it'll humble you. So this could have been that click that he needed to understand. It's like, okay, I appreciate and love playing in the NFL. Let me, do everything humanly possible to stay in the NFL. So this could have humbled Jake Camarda. Not that he wasn't, I'm not saying he wasn't, but this could have kind of woken him up a little bit to say, okay, I want to stay in the NFL. I've got to do better. So I would bring him back, no question, at least for a tryout or a workout with other punters and see who does best. But I would bring him back for sure.
And usually Tuesday is the day where you try out guys. So maybe that's happening as we speak. I don't know. But you mentioned two interesting qualities. Chemistry, number one, certainly as the holder for a guy like Chase McLaughlin, which is very important. And number two, I think the Bucs are going to be involved in some tight games, even though a lot of their opponents are teams with a losing record, with the exception of the Chargers. A lot of these late game situations could come down to flipping field position or a late field goal, and you want to be able to have guys who have been there and done that.
Right, and you want to have a guy that
Yes.
with Jake, we know what he can do. We know what he can do with his kickoffs. And if he gets back in rhythm and he finds that sweet spot that he had the last couple of years, we know he's a great punter as well. So why try something new that you have no idea what you're getting when you have a guy that, maybe he didn't do the best the first few weeks. You gave him a chance. He stayed on longer because normally, they would release him, bring the new guy, and they kept him on in the practice squad or they kept him on the active roster and set him down. But now being out of football will definitely change his mindset. So I feel like there's no way I wouldn't bring him back to see if he kind of got that click, and maybe working out on his own, he figured out where the sweet spot was, and now he's hitting bombs again like he was, the last couple of years. So I would bring him back, no question. And again, like you said, Tom, the biggest thing is he's a really good holder that Chase has a lot of confidence and a good friendship with. So there's no way why I would change that up. Why would you change that up and bring a new guy that you have to explain how because every kicker wants their ball a specific way. Jake, you don't even have to tell him how you want it. He knows how Chase wants it. So that's a huge step forward as well.
It sure is. Now, the only punter they have now is a kid on the practice squad named Jack Browning, who's a rookie. I don't think you want to put a rookie in that situation here. You got 5 games left. You're trying to make the playoffs. All right, Martin Gramatica is with me. So I just had Anthony Nelson on in the last half hour. Great guy. Made the biggest play of his life. He mentioned that too. Biggest play that I've ever had. Biggest play of the season. Just talk about that overtime win because it looked as if the Bucs were about to lose that game and fall to 5-7, and we're having a completely different conversation right now.
No, and I love what Coach Bowles said. After the bye week, we figured out how to win the close ones because we didn't do that before the bye week, and then after the bye week, we win one in overtime. So I know looking at it, and you say we should have blown them out, or Carolina's not very good. We should have won the game. So I feel like this might be that one game that motivates the team and makes them realize, okay, we can win the close one. We have the team that can close out games, and they did it. So I think it's actually going to end up being a positive more than a negative where we almost lost to Carolina. I think it's going to be one of those where, first of all, we have to play our game all 4 quarters so we don't end up in this situation. But if we do end up in this situation, we have the team, we have the players, and we'll figure it out to make that one play. And Anthony Nelson made that one play that nobody expected, and out of nowhere, he creates a fumble, and we win the game. So I agree. I think this is the game that kind of turns the season around for us.
I hope so. And Anthony Nelson mentioning something that I hadn't thought of. His wife just gave birth to their second son on Friday. If that kid waits until Sunday to come out, he doesn't play in the game, and maybe the Buccaneers do lose that game. I mean, fate and life certainly has its way, doesn't it? Twists and turns and everything else. You were never in that position, right? When your kids were born, did it come down to you having to miss a game or something?
No, but it's funny that you mentioned that because when I was giving birth, my wife was giving birth to our first son. I got the call. I was out of football because of an injury for a year, and then I get a call from New England wanting me to come in for a workout, and I told my agent, I said, look, my wife is literally giving birth. Can you give me a week? Which was great because I hadn't kicked in a while because I was, kind of worried about being a dad and I didn't even think about football. And it gave me a week to practice. So then when I went to New England, I ended up winning that job because I was able to practice for a week. So, kids, we always say kids sometimes bring that biggest blessing. Obviously you always want to be a dad, but they always come with a nice gift. And Anthony Nelson's kid came with a great gift. He came a day early so he can have that incredible play that helped us win the game.
Oh, man, it's the greatest gift ever. I mean, Christmas came early. So when you went to New England, Belichick was a coach, right?
Yes, Belichick was a coach. Tom Brady was the quarterback. And I left there because I ended up getting injured, and then Gaskowski, who they drafted, who was going to be the kickoff guy, and they wanted me to do the field goals at the time. But I left there being the biggest Tom Brady and Patriots fan because of the way they operate. And Tom Brady was just an amazing guy, humble guy, and I just loved Tom Brady after I left New England. But, yeah, so they were all there.
So what was it like dealing with Belichick at the time? Did he get on the phone? They're like, hey, Martinez, Bill Belichick here. Would you like to come up? We're looking for a kicker. You're going to come up and maybe do a little tryout for us. What are you from South America?
He was actually a good guy. And the nice thing of what I can say about Belichick is where you stand with Belichick. So he was one of those guys that was straightforward. And I enjoyed my time there. And luckily, I wanted to stay there. It didn't work out, but it was a way for me to kind of get back in the league. So they gave me a chance. So I'll always be thankful to the Patriots. And then obviously left there being a huge Tom Brady fan because of the quality of a person that he was. He was just an awesome guy.
He sure was. Martin Gramatica is with me here. All right, you got the Raiders coming into town on Sunday. I watched them on Black Friday. They should have beaten the Chiefs. They absolutely bungled the last minute of that game where they were trying to get into field goal range, and they had a bad snap, and the Chiefs escaped with another one-score win. So what are you expecting on Sunday? I know it's a 2-10 team, and they like to give the ball away a lot, but we're talking about the Bucs here. Nothing comes easy.
Yeah, no, we're used to playing these close games, and nothing comes easy, like you said, Tom. But I feel like the Raiders coming to the East Coast is going to be a different story. The Bucs, with Baker just being the guy that he is, where he motivates the whole team to give a little extra. I feel like there's no way we can lose this game just because of that extra. I mean, you saw Baker get his foot, get caught under a D line. I thought we were watching the broadcast that he had a broken ankle. 2 minutes later, he's over there playing like no big deal. So that's the toughness that our team has because of Baker's mentality. So I don't see us losing the game. Obviously, we've got to play the game. Like we never thought we'd be as close to Carolina, but Carolina's a divisional rival, so that's a totally different story. Having the Raiders come cross country to play us, I can see the Bucs, running away with it and getting our offense back started and scoring a lot of points.
I hope so. And then you got Minnesota hosting Atlanta. Kirk Cousins got to go back to Minnesota on Sunday, so that's a tough game. By the end of Sunday, the Buccaneers could be all alone in first place in the NFC South. Wouldn't that be something, huh?
That would be incredible, especially since we have, the tiebreaker with Minnesota. It doesn't benefit us and doesn't favor us, so we need Atlanta to start losing, so Minnesota could give us a hand. And there's nothing more than you want to do is you beat your former teammates, and obviously your former teammates want to beat you as well. Especially, so it's going to be one of those. It's not a rival. It's not a conference game for them or a division game, but it is one of those where you want to beat your former teammate as much as he wants to beat his former team. So it's going to be a big game, and I feel like after this weekend we're going to be sitting pretty.
I hope so. All right, Martin Gramatica, second all-time leading scorer in Buccaneer history behind the great Mike Evans, who scored another touchdown and also distanced himself from you a little bit more on Sunday, which we're okay with. Martin,
I'm 100% okay. Listen, anybody but Mike. And my kids always ask me, how you feel about that? I love Mike Evans. He's so humble. He's a Hall of Famer. So how can I be upset about that? So the more he distances himself, the better. I mean, he already beat me, so go ahead and run away with it. I don't want anybody beating Mike.
Just run away with it, because the more he scores, the better off we all are. Martin, I appreciate a couple of minutes. Hit him straight, baby. Down the fairway for me.
Me and golf, we're not good friends. Me and golf are not friendly.
Thanks, Martin. I'll talk to you later.
Take care, Tom. Have a good day.
You do as well. What an awesome guy. Martin Gramatica on the golf course there doing his thing. And, hey, you heard him mention it. And, look, he brings up a great point in terms of familiarity, which means something. I think to Chase McLaughlin, that means something. Because Jake Camarda holding for him on those field goals, he's making them time in, and time out. So nobody else has picked up on Jake Camarda. The only other punter is this kid on the practice squad from San Diego State. So if he's still available, I would say go bring him back. I would. He's got a great leg. He's athletic. The kicker likes him, and the Bucs are going to be in some close games, okay? Last 5 games, I guarantee you, most of those games will come down to maybe a final kick. Then who do you trust at that point? I think I would bring Camarda back, if it's possible. If the Buccaneers even want to bring him back. I don't know what was going on behind the scenes, if there were things said or whatnot. That part of it we don't know either. But today, Tuesday, is usually the day where tryouts are being held. So I would assume by the end of today, we might get word on who the new punter will be. 888-546-4620. Text at 82945. Buccaneer Total Access with Todd Bowles coming up at 5 o'clock. We got the final drive before then. On the way back, we're going to play a game. I love Tuesdays because I love fill in the blank. We got a lot of them. And there's also a breaking development with the Rays and the stadium situation, too. That's also coming up next here on The Drive. Don't move.
You're locked in to The Drive with TKras.
It is The Drive, and it is presented by our guys over at Moss Nissan, where their goal is to never lose your business over price. Chris Mathis is also here, and the holidays are here, too. Moss Nissan is doing whatever it takes to make this season unforgettable with your shot at, get this, guys, up to $5,000 in holiday cash. What about it?
I mean, it almost sounds too good to be true, but it's not. Here's the game plan, Tampa Bay. Visit any Moss Nissan location. Then you'll pick out a new or pre-owned vehicle. And once that deal is done, grab an envelope from their holiday tree.
Yeah, they gave me an envelope the last time I was there. It wasn't filled with cash, I can tell you that. Inside, you can score anywhere from $500 to $5,000 in holiday cash. And with over $30,000 on the line, Moss Nissan is bringing that holiday magic, Chris.
So don't miss out on your chance at the big win up to $5,000 in holiday cash. Head to Moss Nissan today.
Moss Nissan doing whatever it takes to make your holidays epic. 3 locations. Check them out, mossnissan.com, and Merry Christmas. Speaking of the holidays, you want to make her jaw drop this holiday season. Head on over to the Gold and Diamond Source. They've got the perfect piece to show her, your lady, that she's one of a kind. If you're looking for a gift that says forever, you can find stunning engagement rings, diamond bracelets, and more at the Gold and Diamond Source because she deserves the best. Don't settle for anything less than perfection. At the Gold and Diamond Source, we make it easy to give a gift that she will never forget. The Gold and Diamond Source experts have the perfect gift for everyone without dealing with all that mall madness. From statement necklaces to elegant diamond earrings, the Gold and Diamond Source is the only place to shop this holiday season for that gift of a lifetime. Finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you could get a $5,000 diamond for only $84 a month. Visit the Golden Diamond Source today, where you'll always find the perfect gift this holiday season. 3800 Omerta Road in Clearwater. Always online at goldendiamond.com. Tell them TKras sent you.
WDAE.
Traffic update.
From the safe